Welcome. Today I'm going to go through my dive equipment and what I pack when I go away diving. I'm going to be showing you the items that I dive with right now, the brands I dive with, where I think you should be spending your money on your dive equipment, and where I think you could possibly save some money on your dive equipment. Please join me. I've got two dive bags here. I have my bag, which is a big duffel type bag, and I have Lindsay's bag, which is a much more modern wheelie type bag. When my bag is full of dive gear, my bathroom accessories, my clothes, shoes, etc., etc., it is super heavy. And it's difficult to carry. When I'm having to run between taxis or from the airport and you lose your trolley, I'm carrying it across my shoulders like this, or I've got it up on one shoulder like this. It's really heavy. And you've got to be super strong. So maybe not the best type of dive bag to take with you when you're packing all your clothes and your washroom stuff in there. The idea of this bag is, it was sold to me that, or the idea was, you can fill it with water and you can wash your gear in it. In fact, you'll see it has little plugs at the bottom of it to drain the water out. I have never used it to wash equipment in. It's a great bag. It's lasted with me 5 or 6 years now. Only one zipper's failed on it. And when I mean failed, the little handle thing broke on it. But apart from that, it's been solid, but super heavy and difficult to lug around. Lindsay's, on the other hand, much more modern design, much better idea. Got a little handle. It's a wheelie one. You can wheel it round with you, super easy to maneuver. The only thing I don't like about it, and this is just a minor nitpick, is there's no handle at the top. So you've got handles either side, but I would have really liked some sort of handle here, because there are times where I've been trying to grab the bag to load it up and things and stuff like that, and it doesn't have it. It's got compartments in it. So you've got your fins down the sides, and the rest of your dive kit in the main section. Next time I buy a dive bag, I will be buying something with wheels. Just because after years of carrying this big thing around with me, that's weighed up to 26 to 30 kilograms at a time, that's a lot of weight to lug around, and it's not easy. So anyway, that's our dive bags. I'm now going to quickly pack my dive bag and show you what I take with me on a dive trip away. The way I'm going to do this video is I've got my big duffel bag here with me. I've got it out in front of me. I'm going to basically fill my bag up with all the stuff that I usually take diving with me. I won't be packing my clothes, I won't be packing my washroom stuff, but I'll be packing everything else that I usually take. So let's get started. The first thing I put in my duffel bag, my dive bag, is another bag. I take a mesh bag with me. It's come in very handy. It's a lot better than juggling your equipment down to the kit room, down to the boat. So each dive centre's very different. Some people provide you crates, some people provide you bags, some people just get you to carry your kit on for you, some people carry the kit on for you. The mesh bag comes in super handy in these circumstances. And what I was saying at the beginning, right at the beginning at the intro, when we were talking about dive bags, is that Lindsay and I pack our clothes and our washroom stuff in our dive bags that go in the hold. So what we need to do when we arrive at a dive centre is we need to unpack our clothes, unpack our washroom stuff, and just get our dive kit out. So some centres expect you to turn up and they want to whisk your dive bag away straight away and put it in their kit room all ready for the next day or that afternoon. But we can't do that, so we take our bags upstairs with us, unpack as you do, and then we've got this mesh bag. We can stick our BCDs in there, our Regs in there, our fins in there, and it makes it super convenient to carry it back down to reception or the dive centre, and it makes it easier to carry it onto the boat depending on what they give you to transport your equipment to the boat. So I always take a mesh bag with me. It's a lot easier than juggling equipment, and it also keeps all your equipment in one place when you're on a boat. So I really like taking a mesh bag. Whether I use it or not, it's still worth packing. Next thing, I always have a dry bag. I always take a dry bag with me lying at the bottom of my dive bag. I carry my cameras in here, I carry my water bottles in here, I carry a dry t-shirt or a warm coat in here, depending on where we're diving and what the weather's like. So always take my drive bag. I think it speaks for yourself. A little bit of a tip is if you have an old t-shirt or a small towel, towels are a little big, t-shirts work just great. If you have an old t-shirt and you put it at the bottom, should there get any water in your drive bag, the t-shirt mops it up straight away and it doesn't become too much of an issue. So this is my dry bag. Next, I have a bits bag. So this is bits and pieces, either stuff that have fallen off my scuba gear or stuff that I need to repair. So I've got a pair of pliers in here. It's rusted a bit. Got a pair of pliers in here that I take. I've got the exhaust cover for my regulator, so I don't lose that. I have my international DIN converter. I have a little lube of silicone, and I have bits and bobs, little clips, oops, that kind of stuff. They've just collected in the bottom of my bag over the years or come off my BCDs. And rather than them rattling around the bottom of my bag, I've just put them in this, what do you call it, Coca-Cola pencil case, came free, just to keep it all in one place in the corner of my bag. Okay. Next, cable ties. So I take some cable ties with me. Cable ties are great for quick fixes or attaching things, mouthpieces to regulators. Lindsay does tend to chew through her mouthpiece quite regularly. These are great if we have to swap over for a mouthpiece from the octopus to the primary. Yeah, those quick repairs and quick attachments. Cable ties are fantastic. And so I probably do carry too many, but I've just kind of thrown the bag in my bag, and that comes with me each and every time. Okay, so that's kind of the bottom layer of my bag packed. Next thing that goes in is to keep, because I've got the duffel type bag, to keep the walls upright and to pack around are my fins. Now, I've had these fins forever, and I really mean forever, a long time. Dived with them back home in England, which would have been hundreds of years ago. So these fins have done a lot of dives with me. I have brought other fins, thinking I'm going to replace these ones because I want to change, I want something different. Come back to these ones every single time. They're comfortable on my feet, and I just know how to use them. That sounds crazy, but you know, some fins just don't feel quite right. I think I've dived with these so long, I know them really well. these are my fins. So they go either side of my bag to give it some rigidity. Good word. Oh, and next thing that goes in my fins also is my mask. Now I've done a couple of mask changes in the last couple of months. So I'm diving with, well, I mean, you don't get much choice what you can dive with because Jakarta's pretty limited on the dive equipment you can get. They don't have these mega warehouses. They have shops. Bali's quite good. You pick up what fits you and what price range you're in. And this one's proved to be quite good. I was diving with another brand, but it started to fog and got really foggy. So this has become my spare mask. And yes, I take a spare mask with me. So I've got 2 masks with me. In fact, this spare mask, when I'm diving, will go into my BCD pocket, and I'll dive with it in my BCD pocket. Okay, so these usually travel with me, tucked in the top of my fin. I don't take the mask boxes with me because they're huge and cumbersome. So they get weddied in there. That works quite well. It's quite protected. So both of these get crunched up in there. And we're good to go. Okay, now I've got my fins on the outside. I can start. The next thing that goes in would be my BCD. Now, we could talk forever on BCDs, or not. Okay, this is my BCD. Thousands of dives, and I've got a beginner's dive center type BCD. In fact, you see these all over Indonesia as the type the dive schools use. It's super simple, nothing flash on it at all, and because dive centers use them day in, day out, super tough. They don't fall down, they don't fall apart, and if it did fall apart, they're either quite easy to fix, thus dive centers use them, or you just replace it because actually it didn't cost a lot of money. In fact, I think this would be near the cheapest BCD you can get off the rack in the dive shops here, I think. So we're talking about super cheap. I've done probably a couple of thousand dives on it now. I look after it. It's not caused me any issues. The only issues it's caused me occasionally, maybe some slow leaks in here, into my, filling my jacket ever so slowly. But that usually is a cleaning issue. I have brought, having dived in England a lot of my life, I have these huge BCDs, monster BCDs, with so much lift on them, they'll shoot to the surface. Don't need them. You don't need them here. If you're properly weighted in tropical waters, you really don't need a monstrous BCD. And the amount of equipment that you actually carry with you, if you're just doing recreational diving, is minimum. You'll carry a SMB, a reel, I carry a spare mask, and I carry a hook. And that's all I carry. So, yeah, you don't need to spend thousands and thousands on the BCD. Like I said, I've gone with one that most dive schools use because they're tough, they're durable, they're easy to repair, and if you're properly weighted, you don't use it, really, at the surface. But yeah, so I very rarely put air in and out of this when I'm underwater. Thousands of dives, still works just as well. I can quickly, I've got SMB and reel in my pocket, ready to go. I'll have that spare mask in my pocket, diving. And on the other side, I've got my hook. By hook or by crook. So I've got a reef hook. Don't use it very often because you don't want to damage the reef. But I carry a reef hook with me because there are times where you do hang out at the edge of an abyss, waiting for the big things to come out of the dark. And that's my BCD. So that goes in the center. Okay. Next, regulators. Now, in my mind, completely opposite to the BCD. Whereas the BCD, you don't really need. It's there to give you a bit of buoyancy when you need it, but if you're properly weighted, you don't really need it. Nice to have pockets. But my reg, I think you do need to spend some money on a reg. I think your regs are quite important. So I dive with Apex. So a little older Apex, but still, I mean, this isn't, can you see that? Can you read that? So this is my Apex. I've changed the mouthpieces over and over again. I think this reg is, so the XTX 200, I think this reg is fantastic. You can get, there are newer ones, but this has been really good to me. There's nothing wrong with it. It breathes perfectly at depth. It probably could do it with a really good clean. But that's my reg. My octopus, oops, is the TX50. This is the one. So the problem with it, okay, folks, I'm gonna have a gripe with the TX50, and it is a very old version. That's why it's my octopus. The exhaust cover constantly gets caught on boat rims or gets ripped off somehow. I lost one. I lost the last one in a wreck. So they get pulled off. They get pulled off quite easily. So I now dive with it off completely. You saw it in that bits bag. So I do have the exhaust, but there's no reason to have it on there. It's made it even more streamlined. Just hooks onto me. Super easy to use. Okay. All my gauges are just the bog standard air pressure. That's it. And I'm diving DIN. I have got the converter in there with me. I prefer to dive DIN. So, but I can do both. It's not a problem, quite easy. I store my regs in large loops. I lie on the BCD and I make sure I try to fit it in around the BCD so no bits are sticking up. Where are we up to next? Next is my wetsuit, which goes on top of the regs for protection. Right now, as I've told you, we are in Indonesia. The water's quite warm, but it can get surprisingly cold. Nothing compared to the English Channel. So I dive with a, what's that, 3mm? I dive with a 3mm jacket and shorts. I didn't think I would like diving in shorts, neoprene shorts, but I do. They're pretty cool because they have these huge pockets. And these pockets, I don't use them for diving, but I use them when I come out of the water. My hood goes in the pocket, my computer goes in the pocket. Just super convenient. So I would, first time buying neoprene shorts, as in I've dived with shorties before, but as separate pieces, really cool, would definitely buy again. Don't think booties need much explanation to you. Booties are booties, just make sure they're comfortable. I kind of like ones with quite thick soles because my feet are quite tender at times, especially when walking over rock. It does make me eat that kind of thing. These are super thin here now. I do need new ones, but that's what I'm diving with at the moment. I did dive with the full booties. This is the first time I've got these little shoe ones, but they're quite cool. I would definitely dive with them again. Hoods. So why do I dive with a hood? I dive with a hood because because I'm getting older, my hair's a little thin, I'm redhead, really, though you would never guess it right now. Top of my head really gets burnt by the sun, so I wear a hood because when I'm sitting there waiting for the dive boat to pick me up, it stops my head getting burnt. This one was brought when I was diving in South Africa to keep me warm. It's so thin now. I don't think it does anything but keep my head out the sun when I'm on surface. So that's my hood. I also pack in here my torches. So as you would have known if you watched the previous video about my camera equipment, I dive with torches, and they stay permanently attached to the arms. I don't take them in my hand luggage, they go in my dive bag as well. So does the tray that I put my camera on. This also goes into my dive bag along with my drone, gets packed in there. Okay, and solid case, and a couple of selfie sticks. But I'm sure there's something I'm missing. As far as things like dive computers, they travel with me in my hand luggage. They don't actually go into my dive bag. I think that's pretty much everything I'd take with me scuba diving wise. Like I said, I put my bathroom accessories in the carry-on as well, in my dive bag as well as my clothes. Mainly the clothes I take with me diving. I take swimming trunks, shirts and t-shirts. That's about it really. Obviously underwear and all that stuff as well, but not a huge amount of stuff goes in there clothes wise, and that all comes to around 25 kg, which if you're flying on most airlines these days is 5 kg over the limit. That's not too much of a problem though, because we now fly mainly with Garuda. Garuda recognise that we are scuba divers, that we are going diving, and it always gets classed under sports equipment where they give you that 5 kilograms. Sometimes you can get away with 26, 27, but generally speaking you get 5 kg more in your stowed luggage. Yeah, in your stowed luggage because sports gear, because you're scuba diving. And that's everything I take with me to go scuba diving. That was very easy. Compared to all my electronics and my camera stuff, packing my dive gear, super simple. Super simple. Oh, and the other thing I always take with me is I take an extension lead. I take an extension cord, one of these ball extension cords, in my dive bag, because if you watch my previous videos, you know I've got loads of batteries to recharge in an evening. Having that extension cord, I can set up a little desk somewhere and get everything charging. That works super, super conveniently. So yeah, I think that's everything I take with me on a dive trip. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope some of it was useful to you. Please like, share and subscribe. It really helps. And I'll see you diving. Bye for now.